Okay, I hope all of you can see my screen. All right, students, today's topic again is
Yes,
generating ideas.
ma'am.
We are going to have a look at this topic, and there are three things which are left, which we are going to do today. Generating ideas is the topic, and this is a pre-writing skill that we are studying. And we have already done five strategies of generating ideas or collecting data. You can call it the ways of collecting data. Data is the ideas, all the ideas that are in your mind. Data are all the ideas that are in your mind and that you want to, inculcate in your writing, or you can call them the strategies of collecting ideas or generating ideas, right? We have already done brainstorming, free writing, mind mapping or clustering, modeling, and listing. These are the five techniques that we are done so far. Today we are going to have a look at two more techniques, that are asking journalists questions and tables and charts. We are going to look at these two techniques and we are going to see how to collect data by using journalist questions and how to, collect data by using tables and charts. Mute your microphones, please, all of you. All right, asking journalist questions. What are journalist questions? All of you know what is a journalist, or who is a journalist rather. Journalist is that person who publishes in a paper or in a magazine. Whatever the journalist is publishing is supposed to be based on facts and figures. The articles or the news that are in the newspaper do not come there just like that. There is a lot of work that goes behind all that, uh, material and the story that the journalist is using. When gathering a material for a story, the journalists routinely ask themselves the questions: who, what, when, where, why, and how. These are all WH questions that you people are familiar with: who, what, when, where, why, and how. In addition to helping journalists get started, these questions ensure that they will not overlook an important fact. Whenever you are writing about events, whether current or historical, asking journalists questions is the way to get started. By asking specific questions and then coming up with the answers to them, you will gather a lot of information and ideas about your topic. So, whatever your topic is on which you are writing, it may be some political issue going on, it may be some current disaster that have appeared in some country, it may be some issue in your local area in which you are living, maybe some problem about the water disposal system on your street, or the problem of the garbage on the street, or it may be the problem of the electricity issue or the water problem in Pakistan. Whatever issue you are writing your essay at, asking these questions related to that specific topic is going to help you out a lot. And by asking these questions, who and what and when it happened, or where it happened, or why it happened, and how it happened, you are going to collect a lot of information. This is one way of starting your डेटा कलेक्शन. ठीक है, वट एवर डेटा यू आर कलेक्टिंग. डेटा हम कैसे कलेक्ट करते हैं? वी कलेक्ट डेटा बाय रिसर्च. We generate ideas through our mind, but sometimes the ideas alone are not sufficient. We need some solid kind of data. That solid data is all the facts and figures that are present in the real life. These ideas are not a figment of your own mind. वो आपने अपने माइंड से नहीं बनाए, आपको उसके ऊपर सारी इंफॉर्मेशन चाहिए होती है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इफ यू आर राइटिंग about the water problem in Pakistan, you need a lot of facts and figures. All the facts and figures are probably not there in your mind. So, in order to collect all those facts and figures, what you will have to do, you will have to research the internet. you will have to go to the library, you will have to read the newspaper and try to find the relevant data out of those newspapers. So when you are researching all these questions, who did this, what happened actually, when it happened, where it happened, why it happened, and how it happened, are going to help you out a lot. When you write down these questions related to any topic on which you want to write down, you are definitely going to collect a lot of data. For example, I am giving you an example again. If you are writing an essay about pens, your teacher has given you an essay writing topic that is pen. How would you interpret this question? What type of a person is X? What type of a person uses a pen? The person X is the person who uses a pen. So what we are going to do here is that we are not going to typically write down on a pen only. We are going to write down about that person who uses a pen. And what does pen tell about the personality of that person? So you can create these kind of questions. What does X mean? How can X be described? What are the component parts of X? How is X made or done? How should X be made or done? What is the essential function of X? And what are the causes of X? These are just some of the example questions, just to give you an example how you can create questions by using the WH words. What, how, and where, and when. Remember, all these questions may not specifically be able to target your topic here, that is pen. Some questions probably are not suitable to a non-living object, that is a pen. Some other questions are suitable. For example, how can you describe a person who uses a pen? Yes, you can write answer to this. What are the component parts of X? The pen that you are describing here, what are the main component important parts of the pen? How is X made or done? How is a pen made? How should it be made or done, and what is the essential function of X? But what are the causes of X, and what does X mean, are such questions which are not relevant to this topic and will not be useful to this topic. So this is how you can use the WH questions to collect your data or information related to the topic. Next, I want to tell you how to use tables and charts. What are actually table and charts? Tables are something which you have been making since you were in class 1. Then you would be told to write down the difference between the living things and the non-living things, or describe the properties of living things and non-living things, or describe the basic difference between a sun and a moon, or any other such question that you have been dealing with in your science. You have been using tables and charts to organize all that information in your notebooks. These tables and charts are often there in your textbooks as well. Through the help of tables and charts, any information that is given to the students is easier to understand. The visual information is always easier for the students to understand. Visuals always help us learn in a better manner. Children at the age of 3 and 4 are given books with a lot of visuals, a lot of pictures, colorful pictures through which they learn. In the same manner, when we at this level use tables and charts, it helps us arrange all of information in a better manner, so that the person who is reading, or even if you are reading something, so whatever you are reading, whatever you are doing, or whatever you are presenting always becomes easier to present with the help of tables and charts. It will help you organize your information in a better manner. When you are using tables or charts, use phrases or words that are central to your topic and try to arrange them spatially in a graph, grid, table, or chart. How do the different spatial representations help you see the relationships among your ideas? If you can't imagine the shape of a chart at first, just put the words on a page and draw lines between or around them. How? Like this. Look at this example of a table. If you cannot understand how to write all of the information in the form of a visual, in the form of a chart, how am I going to do it? You simply write down all the information that you have, positive, negative, both points, advantages and disadvantages of the same topic, both. You just write them down with using the main relevant words. Try to skip the irrelevant information and irrelevant words. Try to write all the information that you have in the form of phrases or words, and then you draw lines around them like this and convert it into a table. This is how you can make a table related to any topic that you are going to write on. Whatever information that you have selected or collected can be organized like this. This here is a chart or a Venn diagram. We call these kind of diagrams charts and Venn diagram. This is such a diagram which is overlapping. These things, these charts are, these circles are overlapping each other. See, on one side we have the characteristics of whales, that is a big fish. On the other hand, the characteristic of general fish, and the overlapping area tell us or show us the characteristics that both whales and fish have in common. They say that whales, they live, they give birth, they breathe air, they have hair. Fish, on the other hand, have scales, they also lay eggs, they breathe water. What is the overlapping area telling you? It is telling you the characteristic of both of these kind of fish. They both can swim, they both live in water, and both of them have fins. So this is an example of how to present your data, how to organize your data, or how to collect your data through the help of tables and charts and Venn diagrams, right? So you yourself can see that rather than reading long paragraphs and then understanding all the information that you have there, it is very easy to put all the information in the form of a chart and a diagram. If you have created these kinds of tables and charts and diagrams, it becomes very easy for you to write down your essay when you sit down to write. These were all the strategies and ways of collecting data that we have done so far. Brainstorming, number one. Number two, free writing. Number three, mind mapping or clustering. Number four, moodling. Number five, journalist questions. Number six, tables and charts. And number seven, listing. These are all the characteristics or all the ways of collecting data that we have done so far, or generating ideas, ways of generating ideas. Right? Now, I'm just going to tell you some basic tips and tricks when you are generating ideas for your topic. These are the basic tips and tricks. You may get short questions like such in which they ask you write down 2 tips or 3 tips for generating ideas. So these are going to be very helpful there. Number one is, don't feel you need to work logically. When you are generating ideas in your mind, don't think that the ideas that you are writing down should be logical. Good ideas often have strange agents. An apple fell on Isaac Newton's head, and this gave us the idea of gravity. Mary Shelley had a dream, and this gave us her famous literary classic, Frankenstein. It does not at all matter how you get your idea. What matters is that you somehow find a good one. So, whatever ideas are coming to your mind, you may find them strange at the beginning, but do not reject your ideas. Do not try to find logical ideas. Logic, you know what is the meaning of the word logic? Is 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. Logic is something that your mind accepts and thinks is rational. Do not think that all your ideas should be rational. Think about how Newton discovered the rule of gravity. When an apple fell down, Newton said that it happened because of the gravitational pull of the earth. His idea might have sounded strange to the people at the time when he gave this idea, but later on, this is one of the famous ideas and one of the famous thing on which the other researches are based, and it was proved to be true. So sometimes you have good ideas that appear to be strange in the beginning and then that may, work out later on. Number two is work from general to specific. Your first good idea does not have to be and usually will not take the form of a good thesis statement. Find a topic before you find an argument. Think about your argument in general terms before you try to make it precise. As you are writing an argument around a topic, you need to build a good thesis statement. Thesis statement is one sentence statement which you are going to either prove or disapprove through your research paper or through your essay. So as you are collecting a lot of data, a lot of argument, you have to specify one point as well. You have to make a precise statement around which you are going to build your research or your essay. So this is the meaning of going from general to specific. You have to specify one point or out of all of your arguments, that this is the point at which I am working on. Then maintain momentum and don't be critical. Being critical can hinder your creativity. If you think too much about the flaws in your ideas, you will lose momentum. Creative momentum is important though. The first 10 in a string of related ideas might be garbage, but the 11th could be pure gold. You never reach the 11th if you shut down your thought process at the second. So, when you are gathering ideas, when you are generating ideas, you're not going to criticize your ideas. You're not going to, at that point, find flaws in your ideas. If you try to critically look at the ideas that are coming in your mind, your creative momentum will be lost. Momentum is a continuous process. Anything that you are doing continuously is called momentum of doing something. So, this momentum is very important. Probably the first 10 ideas that you have written might be garbage, they may not be important, but the 11th idea that you would produce would be pure gold. So it is a possibility. So, in order to reach that 11th idea, you're not going to shut down your thought process through the criticism that you generate yourself upon your ideas. So try not to be critical of your ideas. Next tip is let the ideas go. Don't get too attached to the first appealing idea that you find. The idea could work out very well for you, but it just as well might be a dud once you give it some critical thought. Also, thinking about a new idea does not mean abandoning an old one. You can easily come back to any idea. So, this is another point, that do not think that the first idea that you have created or that has come to your mind is very good. Just because it appear appealing to you, you have to let go of this idea and move towards creating more ideas. Later on, you can come back to this idea if you feel that this first idea was the best of all. Next is critique ideas when you find a few appealing. You will have to select only one idea to pursue eventually. So when you have a few that might work, try to rule out all but one. If you find they're all bad, start searching for more. So when you are done with your idea generation and you have got like 20 or 15 ideas in front of you, now you will have to, deduct all ideas and select one out of them. Definitely you can pursue only one idea out of these ideas for your research paper or for your essay writing. So you have to do that at this stage. Find an idea that you will enjoy writing about. Now, this is very important. A bored writer makes reading a bore. Try to find either a topic that interests you or a way to integrate your interests with your topic. In the worst case scenario, pick the least boring topic of all of the boring topics that you are faced with. So, try to find such an idea which interests you. And it is a common knowledge that what does not interest you is going to make you bored. So try to find such a topic which does not bore you. Try to find such a topic which match your interests and your habits. Next one is keep a notepad close. Good ideas will cross your mind when you least expect it. When they do, make sure that you can hold on to them. Many people come up with their best ideas just before falling asleep. You might find it useful to keep a notepad by your bed. So this again is a very good idea, that keep a notepad with you at every moment, no matter what you are doing. Sometimes it happens as you are working on some topic, you're working on some essay, or you are working on some research paper. The ideas may come to your mind right before you go to sleep because you are very much relaxed at that time, or they may come to your mind when you're doing something else, some other important task during the daytime. So what you can do is you can always keep a notepad and a pen with you, so that whenever a good idea hit you, you can quickly write it down. So these are all the tips and techniques for generating ideas, the general tips and techniques. And then we have also talked about the specific techniques that are brainstorming, free writing, mind mapping, clustering, moodling, asking journalist questions using tables and charts. So this was it on this topic. The topic now is completed, and I am giving you a homework activity. What you have to do is you have to create a cluster or a mind map on the topic overcoming health problems. Overcoming health problems is the topic, and you have to create a mind map or a web diagram around this topic. I told you how to make a web diagram. You have to encircle your main topic, write it down on a paper and make a circle around it, and then you have to draw lines around it, and you have to write down all the ideas that are coming to your mind, and then you have to keep on encircling those ideas over here as well. And then if you find more ideas related to these ideas that you have created, you can then create more subheadings and more sub clusters out of these. So this is how you're going to make your cluster or your mind map. At this stage you are just going to do your generating idea activity. You're not going to the actual process of writing. That we will do as we go upon the writing process. I hope this all is clear, and this is all from my side on this topic. G, is it clear, students?